let's talk about the truth with the knot and WeddingWire. Okay? The truth that they don't want you to know about. Let's just go over some history. All right, and let's talk about this because everybody needs to be aware of the type of business they run. They run one hell of a business. I'll say that. They make money, crazy amounts of money, and they do so by exploiting a lot of our small businesses. And nobody wants to say this because everybody wants to be a wedding pro or everybody wants to go to their little conferences and act like they have more money than they do or whatever, or you just want to just be cool and display the awards, yada, yada, yada. Nobody wants to talk about this, but whatever, okay? This is the truth. Let's do some history, okay? David and Carly. This is David and Carly right here. They started the Knot back in like 96. Okay, they started it. They had I think they had another startup, but they're a husband and wife team, and they started the Knot, and it was like the first of its kind. It's like right in the middle of the .com boom. I think they got some money from AOL, and then they officially launched the Knot.com in 1997. And it was the first of its kind, right? They're changing the world, right? Immediately, right? They dropped a book, The Knot Complete Guide to Weddings, and it's been like, revised over and over again. But the first original one, I think, was like 1999, right? So they dropped this big book, and it was a big bestseller. Everyone was buying it when they were planning weddings. Then they started a magazine. They still publish quarterly to this day, sold at magazine stands. They started a TV show with Oxygen Network, and it's a reality TV show following couples around, planning their wedding and going through drama and getting divorced or whatever, right? Then they became publicly traded. So they had a stock. So they got an initial offering. I think they got like a $30 million funding or something like that. And then they went on the stock exchange. Eventually their ticker symbol was XOXO. Adorable. Hugs and kisses. That was their ticker symbol. Adorable. Just adorable. Right? So the Knot's killing it. Okay? The Knot's killing it. Now we're in like the mid 2000s. The Knot is just on fire. And they have no competition. All right? Then comes Tim Chi. Tim Chi, 2005, was getting married. He was marrying. His wife is from Toronto, I think. He's from like New York or Massachusetts or something, somewhere up north of Maine. And they were getting married. And he claimed that, listen, we're trying to plan this wedding, and there was nothing to help me plan this wedding. I'm like, have you ever heard of the Knot.com? I feel like they were out then, but whatever. But maybe it was like an infancy stage, right? It didn't do much, right? He could do it better. So he decides, listen, we're going to start WeddingWire.com. Now, this guy had a technology background. He already had another startup that he did in college and everything, so he had a little more experience, and he started WeddingWire. And then that's when the whole monopoly started. You had two main competitors. That was it. From 2007 to 2019, it was a monopoly. WeddingWire versus the Knot, and that was it. That was the only game in town. You could say, all right, it's not a monopoly, but there's only two main competitors. That was it. Okay, so 1 and 2. They were head to head, and all they did was copy off of each other. That's all they did. It was like who does that? Everybody. They just copy all. You know what I mean? You know how like competitors, they get a good idea and then you copy it. Like Instagram copies off of TikTok and copied off of Snapchat and copied off. You know what I mean? Like same shit. They were head to head and they were just constantly trying to innovate. And WeddingWire were the first to come out with the Genius Award system. And this is the most genius idea ever. This single-handedly made them rich. Okay. Let me explain this to you. They thought to themselves, how do we get vendors for free to advertise our websites? What's the key to getting to all these couples? There's plenty of keys, but a big key is through the vendors, the venues, the photographers, the DJs, the bands, everybody. How do we get to more couples? How do we reach every couple ever? Well, every couple has to hire some type of vendor. So they created an award system and they made it very blanket vague, right? They don't use the extra decimal points. It's very just, you know what I mean? If you got 3 reviews and, all your limbs, then you get an award or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's just very vague. So everyone gets one. And now what are you going to do? Now what are you going to do when you get that award? You're going to post it and be like, oh my God, look at this award I got. And everyone's going to praise you and congratulations. And wow, Timmy really made it. We thought he was going to be a loser, but look, he got a WeddingWire award, right? And then in turn, you are promoting their brand for free and funneling traffic into their website. Now you might ask me, How are they going to, I mean, okay, they saw the WeddingWire logo. That's going to funnel traffic. Like, what are you talking about, Nick? You're blowing it out of proportion. No. If you've ever gotten a WeddingWire award or the Not award, it comes with an entire press kit. You have a press release statement that you can release. You have HTML code for every award that you copy and paste on your website that directly links to their website, which is the most genius thing on earth for them because they leverage it. You add the code to your website and they leverage all the SEO benefits. SEO stands for search engine optimization, okay? If you're not familiar, it's just, basically it's how you structure your website so you can pop up in more searches that are related to the product you're trying to sell. So when you Google something, people that pop up, they have good SEO, right? Well, by having every vendor on earth posting all these awards and all the codes they're just doing, especially back when it first came out, right? Maybe now, like, you might have the wherewithal to just save image as and just do the image without the code. But most people, and the damage is done, for over a decade have been posting the code on their site and they leave it up there. And every year they re-add the code. What did that do? If you search anything to do with wedding or the vendor and your city, do it after the show. Wait till after the show because we got a great show for you. But when you're done, when you get a second, go to Google and Google wedding DJ in your town. Tell me what the first two results are. I promise you, I would bet the entire farm, okay, that the first two results are the Knot and WeddingWire. Past the ads, right? You get like the 4 ads, right? You Google something, you get like 3 or 4 ads. And when you go to past the ads, it's going to be the Knot, WeddingWire, and then actual other stuff because they own us. They own the SEO for anything to do with weddings. Own it. They got 10 plus years of just infiltration into all your websites because you copy and pasted all those codes every year you won the award. And then the Knot took it up another step. It's like, oh, well, if you win like 3 or 4 or 5, however the fuck it works, you get Hall of Fame. Another thing you could put on there with a code. So we literally built their business. Now you Google, you're getting married. You can't not come across WeddingWire or the Knot's website. You can't. Okay. You just can't. So they laid this groundwork, right? Competing against each other for the better part of a decade. Then, like that wasn't enough. They made the egregious move of merging. They joined forces. They became one. How did this happen? How is this? There's not a monopoly law. Don't we have monopoly laws in this country? They joined forces and they tried to do it on the low, but we all found out about it. Yes, it's true. Okay, well, we're doing it to provide a better product for our clients, right? They put a little bow on it. By doing so, remember I said they were publicly traded, right? They had the XOXO, super adorable hugs and kisses stock ticker symbol or whatever. By doing so, they combined, and within the deal, they brought in these investors and they privatized the Knot. So they combined into one, they called themselves the Knot Worldwide, and then they went from public to privatization, which means when that happens, all right, so let's say, so you're them and they have a stock and they're publicly traded and they have a stock price. Investors come in this whole deal. The whole deal was worth right about $1 billion. The investors come in and they offer the shareholders a premium over top the stock, 125% of what it's worth, 150% of what it's worth, whatever it was, right? Not disclosed. Can't find it anywhere. I would tell you. I looked. But they offer a premium over top the stock to buy all the stock and regain 100% ownership. And if the majority of the shareholders agree, then they get a bag, right? Because they already had all the money in the stocks, but then they're getting a huge chunk of profit over top of it, right? So they're making out like bandits. And now they not only merged to make a monopoly company in our industry, but now they're also private again. So they don't have to disclose shit. A private company can hide way more stuff than a public company. Public company, you got to disclose salaries and this and that. It's public. You have shareholders. You're owned by a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like you have to be. Now they're private. Now they're just in the shadows. And then they buy up all the brands, okay? They currently own bodas.com, How They Asked, the bump, which is like, so after you're married, they sell you all kinds of stuff, when you're getting pregnant and everything else, Hitched, the Bash, and they're working on buying everything else. I'm sure they're trying to buy all the, like, cause there's a couple competitors we're going to talk about. They have all the money in the world and these huge investors. So now it's just gotten out of hand, people. Okay. What they do is egregious. They don't give a shit about us. Okay. They care about sales. They literally pry on small businesses. Their favorite small business are the new small businesses, right? If you're a wedding DJ and you want to become a wedding DJ and you want to start your own single op, your own multi-op, whatever, and you start the company, you get your LLC, right? And you get your entertainment website. I promise you, any of you that have ever done this, quickly got an email from one of the sharks at WeddingWire the Knot. Hey, congratulations on your new business. And then they try and sell you on a 12-month contract packed with hidden fees and pretty much let you know that, listen, if you don't do this, if you don't like give us money, I mean, you're going to fail. Where are you going to get your leads? We're going to give you all the leads. It's going to be amazing. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. You're going to get on our site and you're going to have awards. It's going to be beautiful. And you're just going to have such a successful career. And they sell you the American dream. Because they make profit, they make commission off of it. They're car salesmen, they're furniture salesmen. They're like, there's no difference, okay? And the ROI has been going down and down and down and down. Everybody I talk to doesn't get shit from them. And I said this in the past. The only thing I ever really said about WeddingWire and this whole not worldwide is that, listen, if you got it, just make sure you pay attention to the ROI. Make sure you're getting a better bang from your buck, right? There are companies that do still do well, but they're usually the more established companies, companies that have been around for 7+ years, have tons and tons and tons of reviews, and they just keep, pumping. They got the marketing budget to pump thousands of dollars a year into this, and then they're first place. But for the rest of us, it's not always a good investment, okay? And if you think I'm wrong, that they don't give a fuck about you, you hear about what they did with Shutterfly? This doesn't have to do with us, but photographers are up in arms over this. So listen to this. The Knot makes a deal with Shutterfly behind the scenes and says, listen, whenever a photographer gets a review, we're going to automatically send them a coupon to Shutterfly. And we're going to make it sound like it came from you. We're going to make it sound like it came from the photographer. And we're going to send them a promo code for like a free album or some shit. I don't forget, the coupon evolved over the years. It's been happening for a little while now. But they literally send them a coupon for Shutterfly. Shutterfly is a photographer's worst nightmare because photographers, so they make money on their talent fee, right? They're shooting your wedding, but also they make a large portion of their profits by selling albums, selling prints, selling all that digital, all the shit you hold in your hand when it comes to pictures. That's where they make a lot of their money. They get wholesale pricing and they have an expertise in designing the album a certain way and they have their own style, and photography is an art. So they want to display their art a certain way. It's all very like, you know what I mean? That shit's important to the photographers. Not to mention they make a ton of money on it. Obviously, Shutterfly is the cheapest place ever to get pictures printed. So obviously a Shutterfly album is going to be, a third of the cost of what a professional album from an actual photographer would cost. Plus you get a promo code. So the Knot now, if you leave a review, you're getting this promo code and you're more than likely, wow, this is way cheaper and I can order it right here and I can actually have control and design it myself. And now they're taking away all the album sales from the photographers. And of course the Knot's getting a kickback on this. Of course. It's just egregious. Like the whole organization. Guys, if I go missing, you know why. I mean, it could be a couple things, but mainly, you know why? But I don't give a fuck anymore. It's insane. So let's talk about the future, okay? Like I said, obviously, if you want to do weddings, have a free profile on the WeddingWire and the Knot. There's no reason not to. At least have a presence on there. I don't know what the free profile gets you anymore, but whatever it is, don't let them rope you into a whole contract unless you have the money to spend and you can get ROI on it. And it's tough to even say, because they really, you can't just try it a month. You have to do long-term with them. It's tough. If you are advertising with them now, just pay attention. Make sure, find out where these leads are coming from. You'd be surprised. I think a lot of us are still paying just for the award and we're not getting any business from it. Our businesses are successful because we're good DJs and we have word of mouth, not because WeddingWire is plugging us. You know what I mean? So that's what you got to take a long, hard look in the mirror if you're a business owner, if you do this. Are you successful from word of mouth mainly? So you're only losing, what, 4 or 5 weddings a year? And usually those weddings that come from WeddingWire than not are like the worst ones. They want deals. They want everything else, right? Or is WeddingWire than not really supplying your business with a lot of leads and it's worth it? It's worth the relationship. It's worth all the money you pay, everything. Take a long, hard look in the mirror. Because they're not in our best interest. And there are some competitors coming out as well, and some things that I think you guys should check out if you're a business owner. Definitely make profiles on and just start sniffing around, okay? I'm not saying these competitors are any different, right? They're all in it for the money. But finally, WeddingWire and the Knot aren't the only game in town. There's 2 big ones, okay? And those 2 big ones are Zola and then a thing called Pearl by David's. Now, Zola was like a wedding planning website, the best one. Like, they're legit. There's Zola and Joy, and that's where you can like go on. You can have online registries, right? If you're planning a wedding, you know, all that shit, all the planning stuff, seating charts, everything, right? It's kind of like all laid out on there. But Zola has been like a big name in the game for years now, and they just added a vendor section where now you can look up vendors, there's recommendations, there's reviews, just like WeddingWire the Knot, right? So Zola has that, and they're already a big website. So I feel like they already kind of have a head start, and they're going to be giving WeddingWire and the Knot a run for their money. A lot of couples, you know, maybe using them already for like vendors and stuff. So if you don't have a presence on Zola, definitely get a presence on Zola. And then Pearl by David's, that's by David's Bridal. This only happened a month ago. So David's Bridal almost tanked. They went into bankruptcy in like 2019, right? They were like, you know, David's Bridal was a shit for years. They have like 280 something locations in the United States, right? You go get your dress, your suits, all that stuff. But they ran into some hard times, you know, the brick and mortar, a lot of like online places, you know, kind of like killed them. They went into bankruptcy 2019. Then they got investors in, they restructured, and now they got a lot of money in the pot from the investors and everything. And now they want to come for WeddingWire and the Knot's neck. And they just released an entire separate brand website called Pearl by David's, and that's where you can go online and see vendors and shop around and reviews and all that stuff. So now you have 2 very big fish jumping into this pond that are going to do the same thing as WeddingWire and the Knot. And I'm all about competition. I think it's the greatest thing ever, because now they're going to be, it's not just one monopoly, doesn't give a shit about us. It's going to be 3 of them all trying to make money. So they all have to like better their products. They all have to maybe lower certain prices and compete with each other. Like, competition's good. Okay. I'm a capitalist. This is all good. So, you know, I think the future, you know, they're going to get knocked off the WeddingWire and the Knot. They're going to get knocked off their throne a little bit in the future. But we shall see. Okay, I just want you guys to know the full story. Make sure you have a presence on these 2 new websites, and that's it, people. That's it. You know, they're fucking savages. All right, they're all fucking savages.